Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening.
Tom was adjusting the collar of his shirt when the airlock chimed unexpectedly. The sound was unusual, particularly since his quarters were strictly private, located in the quieter wing of the Orbital Linguistic Research Station. He barely had time to wrap a towel around his waist when the door slid open with a soft hiss. Standing in the doorway was not one of his fellow human colleagues, but rather a figure so strikingly unusual it took Tom a moment to gather his wits. She was tall, her skin shimmering with an iridescent sheen that changed hues as she moved, her eyes wide and inquisitive, reflecting a starry curiosity. "I am deeply sorry. I seem to have misinterpreted the directions," she said, her voice melodic but carrying a formal cadence that suggested she was using a translation device. Tom blinked, his initial shock fading as his academic instincts kicked in. "You're not from the diplomatic team?" "No, I am Yalith, a researcher from Tyrolese. I am here to study human linguistics and communication methods," she explained, stepping back slightly, allowing the door to close behind her, respecting what she now understood to be a private space. Right? I'm Tom, a linguist here at the station. Looks like we're in the same field." Tom managed a polite smile, clutching the towel tighter. "Give me a moment to dress up?" "Yes, of course. I will wait here," Yalith replied, her tone indicating she was unperturbed by the situation. A few moments later, Tom re-emerged wearing casual clothes, his demeanor more composed. "So, Yalith, to what do we owe the pleasure of your visit?" "I am here as part of an exchange program. It was initiated to foster better relations and deeper understanding between our species. Your station commander granted me permission to observe and participate in your research activities." "That's great. But how did you end up in my quarters?" Yalitha's face brightened, colors swirling more intensely around her cheeks. A sign of embarrassment, Tom noted. "I was attempting to navigate the station using my device. It seems I have much to learn about following human directions." Tom chuckled. "No harm done. It's not every day we get visitors from Tyrolese. Let me show you around the station. Maybe start with the main research lab? You can meet the rest of the team." As they walked through the metallic corridors of the station, Tom pointed out various facilities. "Here's our main lab. We're currently working on decoding the linguistic patterns of another species we made contact with last year. It's challenging but fascinating work." Yalith listened intently, her eyes scanning the room filled with screens displaying alien scripts and audio waveforms. "It is similar to what we do in Tyrolese. We also try to find patterns and meanings in the communications of different species. Perhaps I could share some of our methodologies?" "That would be fantastic," Tom replied, genuinely intrigued. "We could use a fresh perspective on some of the stubborn challenges we've been facing." As they continued their tour, Tom introduced Yalith to his colleagues, Maria, who specialized in xenolinguistics, and Derek, a phonetics expert. Both were pleasantly surprised by the visit and eager to exchange knowledge. "What's your main focus back home?" Maria asked, making room for Yalith to sit with them at the communal lunch area. "I study emotional expressions through bioluminescence in various species on our planet. It's quite different from your verbal and nonverbal communication." Derek, always the skeptic, raised an eyebrow. "Emotions through light patterns? Huh? Sounds like poetry more than science." Yalith smiled, a soft glow emanating from her. "Perhaps to you, it does. But to us, it is as natural as speaking." Tom watched the exchange with a growing sense of admiration for Yalitha's calm demeanor and her ability to engage with his team. As the afternoon waned into evening, plans were made for a joint presentation of their respective research findings. Walking Yalith back to her quarters, Tom felt a new sense of excitement about the potential of this unexpected interstellar collaboration. "Looks like you're going to be quite popular around here." Yalitha's shimmer seemed to pulse in agreement. "And I believe I am going to learn a great deal from all of you, too." Tom grinned. "Welcome to the team, Yalith. It's going to be an interesting few months." As the door to her quarters closed, Tom couldn't help but feel that the arrival of Yalith marked the beginning of a significant chapter in human-alien relations, one filled with promise and the endless pursuit of understanding. Tom and Yalith convened early the next morning in the research lab. The air buzzed with an infectious energy as the rest of the team gathered around, eager to hear more about Yalith's methods. With a steaming cup of coffee in hand, Tom initiated the session. So, Yalith, why don't you start by telling us how you decode emotional expressions in your research? Tom suggested, handing her the connector for the main screen. Yalith connected her device, and the screen lit up with vibrant colors. In Tyrolese, we analyze the bioluminescent patterns emitted by beings. Each pattern correlates to specific emotional states. Observe. She played a video, showing creatures whose skins changed colors in intricate patterns. Derek leaned forward, intrigued despite his initial skepticism. How do you differentiate between similar emotions? Like, how would you distinguish happiness from excitement? That is a good question, Derek. The subtleties are in the frequency and wavelength of the glow. Happiness emits a steady, warm glow, while excitement produces quicker, brighter flashes, Yalith explained, demonstrating with a graph overlay on the video. Tom nodded appreciatively. That's fascinating. It's almost like they're speaking through light. Could we apply some of these principles to the audio patterns we've been struggling with? Maria, who had been scribbling notes, looked up. I was thinking the same. Maybe there's a visual component we're missing in our auditory analyses. Yalith, do you think you could help us adapt your visual analysis tools to our audio data? Certainly, Yalith responded, her face lighting up with enthusiasm. I can modify the algorithms to interpret audio frequencies as visual data. It might give us new insights. The group spent the morning tweaking their equipment under Yalith's guidance. By lunchtime, they had set up a prototype system ready for testing. As they ate lunch in the communal area, Tom asked Yalith about her home. What's it like living on Tyrolese? It's very different from here. Our cities are built around the natural landscape, and much of our architecture incorporates living bioluminescent plants. It makes nighttime incredibly beautiful, Yalith described, her eyes glowing softly at the memories. I'd love to see that someday, Tom mused, genuinely captivated. Maybe you will, Yalith smiled. Part of this exchange is to invite one of you to Tyrolese. We believe in learning from each other's worlds directly. The afternoon was spent running tests with their new system. Derek and Tom focused on the technical setup, while Maria and Yalith worked on interpreting the results. The first few trials were unsuccessful, but the team was used to setbacks. It's not aligning correctly. We're getting some interference from the background frequencies, Derek noted, adjusting the settings. Try isolating the higher frequencies, Yalith suggested. In my experience, finer details can sometimes be overshadowed by broader waves. Tom tweaked the controls, and slowly, the random noise began to form coherent patterns. Look at this. We're getting something, he exclaimed. The screen displayed a series of wavy lines that gradually began to mimic the cadence of speech patterns. Maria, who had been quietly observing, suddenly stood up. This could be it. We might be on the verge of understanding their language. The team spent the next several hours refining their approach, their initial frustrations turning into excitement as pieces of the alien language puzzle began to fall into place. As the day wound down, Tom turned to Yalith with a grin. Your visit might just be the breakthrough we needed. Yalith's response was a radiant display of colors across her skin, a clear sign of her pleasure. I am glad to be of assistance. This collaboration is proving to be more rewarding than I anticipated. Derek, now fully on board, clapped his hands together. Let's call it a day. Tomorrow, we might just crack their language wide open. The team left the lab, buzzing with potential, their minds alive with possibilities. As Tom locked up, he felt a surge of gratitude for the strange turn of events that brought Yalith to their doorstep. Her presence not only bridged two vastly different cultures, but also reignited their passion for the enigmatic beauty of uncharted linguistics. The breakthrough in the lab had brought a new level of excitement to the station. As Tom and Yalith continued their work together, Tom noticed a shift in the dynamic between them. They were no longer just colleagues, but were beginning to form a deeper connection. One afternoon, after a particularly successful session, Tom suggested they take a break. How about a walk through the station's arboretum? It's a nice change from the lab environment. Yalith agreed, her curiosity piqued. I would like that. You humans place a high value on nature, even in space. As they strolled through the lush greenery, the conversation flowed more personally. Tom asked, "Have you ever experienced anything like this back home? We have natural reserves, but nothing so contained. This feels both open and confined at the same time," Yalith observed, touching a leaf gently with her fingertips. Tom smiled, watching her interact with the plants. "It's a human thing, trying to keep a piece of earth with us wherever we go. But tell me, how do you relax on Tyrolese?" "We meditate, often in light gardens where the glow from various plants helps focus our thoughts." Yalitha's tone was reflective, her gaze distant. "That sounds peaceful. Maybe you could teach me how to meditate, Tyrolese style." Tom's suggestion was genuine. He was eager to learn more about her world and ways. Yalitha's face lit up, her skin shimmering slightly. "I would like that. It's about finding balance and harmony within oneself. Maybe tomorrow?" "Tomorrow it is," Tom agreed, pleased. Their walks became a regular part of their routine, a time to share stories about their worlds. As they grew more comfortable with each other, Tom became increasingly fascinated by Yalitha's perspective on emotions and relationships. During one such walk, Tom decided to delve deeper. "Yalith, in human cultures, relationships can be quite complex. We experience a range of emotions towards each other. Is it the same for your people?" Yalith considered his question for a moment. "Our relationships are primarily based on intellectual compatibility and communal contribution. Emotions do play a role, but perhaps not as prominently as they do for humans." "That's interesting," Tom mused. "For us, emotional connection can be the foundation of a relationship. It's not just about thinking alike, but feeling alike." Yalith seemed intrigued. "Feeling alike? Is that what humans call love?" Tom chuckled softly. "Yes, that's one way to put it. Love can be friendship, romance, or even something as simple as enjoying someone's company." "I see. And is that what we are doing now? Enjoying each other's company?" Yalith asked, a playful tone in her voice. "I guess you could say that," Tom replied, his heart skipping a beat at her words. Their conversations often lingered on such topics, both discovering new emotional landscapes. One evening, as they parted ways after a joint presentation to the station crew, Yalith turned to Tom with a question that had been on her mind. "Tom, I have noticed something. When humans are happy or fond of someone, they often express it physically. They hug or touch each other. Why is that?" "It's just our way of showing affection. Touch can convey warmth, safety, and comfort that words sometimes cannot," Tom explained, finding her curiosity endearing. "Could you show me?" Yalith asked, her tone earnest. Tom hesitated, aware of the significance of her request. "Sure, if you're comfortable with it." "I would be," she replied. Taking a step closer, Tom gently placed his arms around Yalith in a soft embrace. She responded cautiously at first, but soon relaxed, her body adapting to the new experience. They stepped back after a moment, and Yalith was glowing subtly. "That was warming. I understand better now." Tom grinned, pleased with her reaction. "Glad to hear it." As they continued to explore each other's emotional worlds, Tom realized how much he looked forward to their interactions. Yalith was not just an alien. She was a friend, and perhaps something more. The following day, after their usual collaborative research, Tom and Yalith agreed to meet in one of the quieter sections of the Arboretum for her to teach him Terrala-style meditation. The area was designed to mimic an Earth-like forest, complete with the sound of birds and a gentle artificial breeze. As they settled on a softly grassed patch, Yalith began. "Meditation on Tyrolese focuses on harmony with our surroundings. We use bioluminescence as a guide, but here, perhaps we can use the sound and feel of nature." Tom nodded, eager to learn. "I'm all ears. How do we start?" "First, find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Try to sync your breathing with the environment around you," Yalith instructed softly. Tom did as she suggested, finding the rhythm of his breathing and slowly letting the simulated nature sounds wash over him. "This is quite relaxing," he murmured. "Yes, it is about becoming one with the world around you," Yalith replied, her voice a soothing whisper. "Now, reach out your hands, palms up, and feel the energy of the life around you. As Tom extended his hands, Yalith placed her own hands slightly above his, not touching but close enough that he could feel a warmth radiating from her skin. Feel the energy transfer, the exchange from one being to another, she said. The sensation was unlike anything Tom had experienced. It was calming yet invigorating. It's incredible, he said, eyes still closed, focusing on the energy flow. After a few moments, Yalith withdrew her hands, and Tom opened his eyes, feeling a profound sense of peace. Thank you, Yalith. That was an amazing introduction to your world's practices. Yalith smiled, pleased with his response. I am glad you found it beneficial. Meditation can build bridges between individuals, even from different worlds. Their sessions became a new routine, strengthening their bond. One afternoon, as they were walking back to the research lab, Yalith broached a new topic. Tom, in our discussions about human emotions, you mentioned affection often involves physical touch. Could we explore that further? Tom was slightly taken aback by her directness, but appreciated her genuine curiosity. Sure, we can talk about different forms of affectionate touch, like handshakes, pats on the back, or even a casual touch on the arm. As a linguist, I find these nonverbal cues intriguing, Yalith said thoughtfully. They seem to communicate as much as words. Absolutely, Tom agreed. Here, let's try something simple. He reached out and gently placed his hand on her arm. This is a common friendly gesture. Yalith observed the gesture, then mimicked the action, touching Tom's arm lightly. And is this also a gesture you would share with a friend? Yes, exactly, Tom said, noting the careful way she replicated the touch. Encouraged by their easy rapport, Tom decided to demonstrate another gesture. A hug, like we tried the other day, can also be a way friends show care for each other. Seeing her nod, he continued, would you like to try that again? Yalith agreed, and they shared a brief, gentle hug. I am beginning to understand the comfort this provides, she noted, a soft glow emanating from her skin, which Tom had learned was a sign of her pleasure. Touch can be very powerful, Tom said, feeling a warmth in his own chest at the connection. As their understanding of each other deepened, so did their respect and affection. Each lesson in touch and each shared meditation brought them closer, not just as colleagues but as friends exploring the vast universe of intercultural interaction. Each step forward was a discovery, an exploration not just of each other's worlds but of the emotions that connected them across the stars. The cultural exchange between Tom and Yalith had blossomed into a rich collaboration, blending the study of language with deeper personal connections. One evening, inspired by their ongoing exchanges, Tom decided to introduce Yalith to a broader range of human cultural experiences. Tonight, I thought we could do something different, Tom proposed as they finished their day in the lab. How about we explore some human art and music? I think you'll find it quite enlightening. Yalith, always eager to learn more, agreed enthusiastically. I would love that, Tom. Art and music are universal languages in their own right. Tom led her to the station's media room, where several crew members had gathered for a scheduled movie night. The film selected was a classic, rich in cultural nuances and historical significance. Before it started, Tom took a moment to explain the context of the movie and its significance in human history. As the film played, Yalith was captivated not just by the story but by the emotions conveyed through music and visuals. After the film, she turned to Tom, her expression thoughtful. The way humans can express such complex emotions through sound and images is profound. On Tyrolese, we also have visual and musical expressions, but they are often more subdued, focused on harmony and light patterns. Seeing an opportunity for deeper interaction, Tom suggested, why don't you show me some of your people's art and music? It would be interesting to compare. Yalith was delighted by the request. The next day, they met in the lab where Yalith had set up her device to display images and play sounds from Tyrolese. The visuals were mesmerizing, featuring landscapes that glowed with natural bioluminescence, and the music was composed of layers of harmonious tones, very different from human compositions. Tom was deeply moved by the beauty of Tyrolese art. Your world's art focuses so much on integration with nature. It's beautiful how it all flows together. Yes, it reflects our philosophy of life, Yalith explained. We believe in living in sync with our environment, and our art is an extension of this belief. Inspired by the exchange, Tom proposed a small project. How about we try to create something together? Maybe a piece of art or music that blends elements from both our worlds. Yalith was intrigued by the idea. That sounds like a wonderful challenge. What do you have in mind? Maybe we can start with a simple melody, Tom suggested. I can play a few chords on my guitar, and you could try to integrate some of your harmonic sounds. They spent the next few hours experimenting with sounds and melodies. Tom played several chords, while Yalith adjusted her device to weave in the ethereal sounds of Tyrolese. The result was a unique piece of music that neither had anticipated, a true blend of their worlds. The process was not just about creating music, but also about understanding each other's artistic sensibilities and expressions. It was a deep, mutual exploration that seemed to draw them closer. Encouraged by their success with music, they decided to attempt a visual art project next. Using a digital canvas, Tom sketched out a simple landscape, and Yalith added layers of bioluminescent effects, mimicking the natural glow of her home world. As they worked side by side, the bond between them grew stronger. The collaboration was not just between two individuals, but between two cultures, each learning from and appreciating the other. Their final pieces were displayed in the station's common area, where other crew members could admire the fusion of human and Tyrolese art. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, with many expressing awe at the beauty and depth of the collaborative work. Tom and Yalith stood together at the exhibit, proud of what they had achieved. "We've created something truly special here," Tom said, looking over at Yalith with a warm smile. "Yes, we have," Yalith agreed, her skin softly glowing in the dim light of the exhibit. "It's more than art. It's a symbol of our friendship and the bridge we've built between our worlds." As they continued to explore each other's cultures and share experiences, their relationship deepened, rooted in mutual respect and a shared love for discovery. It was a testament to the power of cultural exchange and the endless possibilities it held. After weeks of working closely and sharing various aspects of their cultures, Tom and Yalith's friendship had deepened into something that neither of them had fully anticipated. They had found a comfortable rhythm in their daily interactions, filled with learning and laughter. One clear evening, Tom invited Yalith to join him at the observation deck, a place on the station where one could see the vastness of space with minimal obstruction. "Yalith, have you ever watched a meteor shower?" Tom asked as they settled into the cushioned seats facing the large viewing windows. "No, I have not. Is it a significant event for humans?" Yalith inquired, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "It's more of a beautiful spectacle than anything else, but it's a good time for reflection and making wishes, though that's more of a tradition than anything scientifically meaningful," Tom chuckled. As they watched, streaks of light began to cross the dark canvas of space, each one leaving a brief, bright trail behind. Yalith watched in awe, her face illuminated by the flashes of light. "It's beautiful," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "Yeah, it really is," Tom replied, glancing at her glowing expression. He felt a warmth spreading through him, an emotion he recognized but hadn't fully acknowledged until now. "Yalith, I've been meaning to ask you." "Yes, Tom." She turned to look at him, her luminescent eyes curious. "In all our talks about human emotions and relationships, have you ever thought about more than friendship?" Tom hesitated, searching for the right words. Yalith paused, considering his question. "I have been learning about these feelings from you. It is different for me, but I am not unaffected by our interactions." Encouraged by her response, Tom took a deep breath. "I guess what I'm trying to say is, I really like you, Yalith. More than just as a friend." Yalitha's colors shifted, a visual sign of her processing his words. "And I am drawn to you as well, Tom. Your kindness, your intelligence. It is very appealing." The air between them felt charged as they turned back to watch another flurry of meteors. After a few moments of silence, Yalith spoke again. "On Tyrolese, we do not usually express affection as humans do. But I am willing to learn, if you are willing to teach." Tom's heart skipped a beat. There's something very human I'd like to share with you, if you're okay with it. It's called a kiss. A kiss, Yalith repeated, as if tasting the word. I would like to understand it. Slowly, Tom leaned towards her, giving her ample time to pull away if she chose to. She remained still, watching him approach with a calm curiosity. Gently, he pressed his lips against hers in a soft, tender kiss. The contact was brief, but it left them both breathless. Tom pulled back slightly, searching Yalith's face for any sign of discomfort. Yalith was glowing, more brightly than Tom had ever seen before. That was very warm, she said, her voice a whisper. Do humans often share this warmth? Not with everyone, Tom smiled, relieved by her positive reaction. Only with someone special. I'm glad you think I am special, Tom, Yalith said, her hand reaching up to touch his cheek gently, mimicking another human gesture she had learned. Tom covered her hand with his, savoring the moment. I do, and I think there's a lot more we can share with each other. As they sat back to watch the remainder of the meteor shower, a new understanding blossomed between them. It was a night of many firsts, their first kiss, the first time Yalith expressed a human-like desire, and perhaps the first time both felt truly connected not just as friends or colleagues, but as beings capable of sharing something deeper. Their relationship had crossed into new territory, guided by the stars and the silent witnesses of a universe that seemed a little less vast than before. The days following their first kiss were filled with a new, palpable energy between Tom and Yalith. Both were keenly aware of the shift in their relationship, navigating this unfamiliar territory with a mixture of excitement and caution. One afternoon, while working together in the lab, Tom decided to bring up the topic that had been on his mind since that night on the observation deck. Yalith, about the other night. Yes, Tom? Yalith looked up from her work, her expression open and attentive. I've been thinking a lot about it. About us, Tom continued, fidgeting with a pen. I know this is all new to you, new to us, but I want to make sure you're comfortable with everything. Yalith paused, setting down her equipment. I am still learning about these feelings, Tom, but I do not wish to stop. The warmth, the closeness, it is very enriching. Tom smiled, relieved. I feel the same way, and I want to keep exploring this with you, if you're willing. I would like that very much, Yalith responded, her colors subtly shifting in a way that Tom had come to recognize as happiness. Encouraged by her words, Tom suggested they spend more time together outside the lab. Maybe we could have dinner in the habitation module tonight? There's a viewing window that looks out over the planet. It could be special. That sounds delightful, Yalith agreed with a nod. Later that evening, as they dined together with the backdrop of the planet's swirling clouds visible through the window, the conversation flowed more freely than ever before. They shared thoughts about their future, discussing what it might look like to maintain this bond they'd formed once Yalith's assignment on the station came to an end. Have you thought about what you'll do when your time here is up? Tom asked, his voice tinged with a hint of concern. I have, Yalith admitted. It is complicated. My work and my people are on Tyrolese, but what we have found here, it is significant, Tom. I do not wish to lose it. Neither do I, Tom said earnestly. Maybe there's a way to extend your stay, or I could visit Tyrolese. We could figure out something, right? Yalith's glow brightened. Your willingness to consider such options, it means a great deal to me. Yes, we could find a way. As dinner ended, they moved to the viewing window, watching the stars. Tom took Yalith's hand, a gesture that had become familiar and comforting to them both. Yalith, these past weeks with you have been some of the best of my life, Tom confessed, looking into her eyes. I never expected to find this, not out here, and I did not know such connections were possible, Yalith responded, her hand squeezing his. You have opened a new world to me, Tom. Not just your planet or your customs, but the world of feeling deeply. Moved by her words, Tom leaned in and kissed her again, this time with more confidence. The kiss was a reaffirmation of their feelings, deep and full of promise. After a moment, they parted, and Yalith rested her head on Tom's shoulder. This is love, is it not? She asked softly. It is, Tom replied, his heart full. It's love. They stayed like that for a long time, watching the universe outside while anchored securely in their newfound bond. The station around them felt silent and distant as they basked in the glow of their mutual affection, a tiny island of warmth in the cold expanse of space. In that moment, they both understood that whatever challenges lay ahead, the discovery of this love was worth every effort to preserve and cherish it. They had found something rare and beautiful, a connection that transcended worlds and species, held together not just by curiosity and mutual respect, but by a profound and shared love. As the weeks passed, the relationship between Tom and Yalith continued to flourish amidst their ongoing projects and cultural exchanges. With Yalith's time on the station drawing to a close, the need to define the future of their relationship became ever more pressing. One quiet morning, while watching a simulated sunrise in the observation lounge, Tom broached the subject that had been on both their minds. "Yalith, we need to figure out what comes next. I've been thinking a lot about this, and I don't want this to be the end for us." Yalith turned to face him, her expression thoughtful. "I have been thinking too, Tom. The idea of leaving now, when we have just begun to explore what it means to be together, feels premature." Tom nodded, his resolve strengthening. "What if we proposed a joint project? Something that could allow us to continue working together, maybe even on Tyrolese. We could explore the integration of human and Tyrolesian techniques in cultural and linguistic exchange more formally." Yalitha's face lit up, her colors shifting in excitement. "That is an excellent idea. It would provide a legitimate basis for us to continue our partnership and perhaps even offer new insights to both our people." Encouraged by her enthusiasm, Tom continued, "I'll talk to the station commander and draft a proposal. We'll need to outline the benefits clearly, but I think everyone will see the value in continued cooperation. I will do the same with my superiors on Tyrolese," Yalith added. "They have been very interested in my reports about our collaboration. I believe they will support an extended project." Over the next few days, Tom and Yalith worked together to formulate a detailed proposal, outlining potential research topics and the mutual benefits of their collaboration. They presented it jointly to the station commander and, via a secure communication link, to the Tyrolesian Council. While they awaited a response, Tom and Yalith spent their days continuing their cultural exchanges and nights dreaming of a future where they could bridge two worlds. Finally, after what seemed like an interminable wait, they received the approvals from both the human and Tyrolesian authorities. "We did it, Yalith. They approved our project," Tom exclaimed, holding up the communication tablet with the confirmation message. Yalith beamed, her glow bright and steady. "This is wonderful, Tom. We have not only secured our professional future, but our personal one as well." With the formalities settled, they began planning their next steps. Yalith would return to Tyrolese to prepare for Tom's arrival and set up their joint research facility. Meanwhile, Tom would arrange for his transfer and brief his replacements on the station. On the day of Yalitha's departure, the station crew gathered to bid her farewell. Tom, standing by her side, felt a mix of excitement and sadness. "I'll see you soon," he whispered as they embraced, not wanting to let go. "Very soon," Yalith assured him, her voice steady despite the emotion she felt. "This is not goodbye, Tom. It's just the beginning of a new chapter." As Yalitha's ship detached from the station and began its journey back to Tyrolese, Tom watched from the observation window, his heart full of hope. He was not just saying farewell to his partner, but was also looking forward to a new life where they could be together, working side by side. Tom turned back to the lab, where his colleagues were already discussing the upcoming changes. "All right, let's finish up here. I've got a planet to get to," he said with a grin, his spirits lifted by the thought of the adventures that lay ahead. The station commander clapped him on the back. "We're going to miss you, Tom, but we're excited to see what you and Yalith will accomplish." "Thanks, Captain. I promise we'll make the station proud." As Tom began his preparations for his journey to Tyrolese, he felt a sense of purpose and anticipation. The universe had grown larger since he met Yalith, filled with new possibilities and the promise of shared tomorrows. Together, they would forge a path that could change the face of interstellar relations, grounded in love and driven by a shared commitment to understanding and unity.